Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The bigger question for the Saints in 2022 certainly is putting this roster together and what opportunities might still arise. And we have talked so much about the running back position over the past month. And I understand that because going into the draft, I told you that if there were a spot where I would love for the Saints, as everyone was talking offensive line, as everyone was talking linebacker or defensive back, the spot that nobody really wants to sink draft capital into anymore, receiver, the spot that nobody really wanted to sink draft capital into anymore, is running back. And I said I would have been really comfortable with the Saints using a second or third round pick on a running back, remembering that the Saints took Alvin Kamara in round 3 to take that style of running back that could be a complement to Alvin Kamara and potentially an heir to Alvin Kamara. I even gave you a name. I thought Kyron Williams from Notre Dame was a perfect fit for what the Saints did. And it looked like this was going to be a draft where you didn't see a lot of running backs taken early, and there was going to be great talent in the middle of this draft. Really on day 2, even late day 2, at running back. Well, of course, the Saints traded up, and they didn't have as much draft capital as we thought, so they didn't take a running back, but they did sign Abram Smith, and a lot of people are very excited about that, and I'm in that number as well. But we have still looked this offseason and said how many free agent possibilities might be there, and we've gone through all of them. From Sony Michel signing with Miami. I mean, you know the list by now. Of course, you saw Darrell Williams sign with Arizona. Philip Lindsay signed with the Colts. Tre'Quan with the unfortunate injury when he was working out. So there just aren't really. I mean, David Johnson was the other high-profile free agent running back, and the Saints had him in for minicamp, and he didn't get a deal. So you don't have free agent options anymore. You have 2 options. If you're the Saints and you're still thinking about adding a running back, you have 2 options. Number 1 is wait till camp begins and roster cuts start happening. Because inevitably, somebody who's a really good player is going to get cut. Somebody who is a potentially better option than what you have or the options that you've brought in is going to get cut and you can sign him. That's one option. Number 2, trade for a running back. So you have to look at what players might be available for trade that would be affordable, suit your needs, and be worth giving up capital to get. Because remember, if you make a trade for a player, you're not just taking on their contract, but you have to give up an asset for the right to take on their contract. That's why a lot of people say, well, trade this guy. It's not that easy. You have to have a willing partner. And there was some talk about Kenyan Drake. And, of course, folks here know Kenyan Drake because he played at Alabama and had a really good career, but his pro career hasn't really been that. Kenyan Drake has played 6 NFL seasons, which I'll grant you is not a super – he does not have a super large sample size of rushing attempts because he has never really been the bell cow anywhere he's been in his NFL career. He has largely been a backup in places, and as was the case this year in Las Vegas. That habit's going to die hard. But in Las Vegas, behind Josh Jacobs. But you look at Miami, where he was drafted at 33 carries as a rookie. Started just 1 game. Started 6 times in his second year. Carried the ball 133 times. 120 carries in 2018. 2019, he played for 2 different teams. Played for Arizona and Miami. He played for Miami and then got sent to Arizona. Combined that season among the 2 teams for 170 rushes. His most productive year was the COVID year in 2020 when he was out in Arizona. He carried the ball 239 times, averaged 4 yards a carry, but then, of course, only there for a year. Now they spent this past season with the Raiders where he was a backup again. So, it's really one of those things that I say, would you be willing to trade for running back? My answer would be yes. But would you be willing to trade for Kenyan Drake? And my answer would be no. Because it's fair to ask, why did the team that drafted him give up on him? Why did Arizona punt him after a season and a half, especially when he came up big for you in the COVID year when he ended up starting 13 games? And then this year in Las Vegas, and they restructured him in Las Vegas, by the way. They restructured his deal. So Las Vegas, if they got rid of him, it would have to be, they'd be willing to eat dead money for the next 3 years. If I'm the Saints and I look at Kenyan Drake, I say I'm not going to give up an asset to get a player that's basically been punted by every team. Like, why can't he stick where he is? And then you ask yourself this question as well: which is a better option? A 28-year-old Kenyan Drake who's basically been a journeyman, or a rookie in Abram Smith who's hungry and trying to find his way and trying to stick? Like, which guy might be able to give you 100 carries this year as a backup? Who would you prefer? I tell you, I don't definitively know that answer today, but I'm sure willing to go into the preseason with Abram Smith and give him a chance to see if he could be that guy, the same way you did last year with Tony Jones Jr. And if you go into camp and you go into the preseason games and it's not working out, wait to see who gets cut, what opportunities, what options are there, and if none arise, then you can pursue a trade for running back if needed. And a lot of this is obviously contingent upon how Mark Ingram plays and if Alvin Kamara faces suspension. But if it's Kenyan Drake or anyone else, the one thing that should become very clear to you and to me and all of us right now when we have this conversation about running back, there aren't a lot of realistic great options, y'all. There just aren't. And your best option might be hope that Abram Smith is the real deal. Hope that he comes in hungry and ready to be the guy that the Saints have found many times in undrafted free agency over the last 15 years. And the long list of Pierre Thomas and Chris Ivory and tons of undrafted running backs that have made an impact on this team and on this roster in whatever role. So maybe Abram Smith could be next. I'm not ruling out a trade. I'm not saying don't trade for running back. I'm saying don't trade for running back right now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.